So when it comes between the battle of geometry and algebra, when a lot of people are growing up, most of you guys were told that you have an algebra brain or you have a geometric brain. So that means you can see shapes a lot clearer. In the algebra, you can do a lot of the step-by-step sequence that we normally do when we're solving for our variable. But I'm starting to see it differently because since I'm a teacher and I taught both Algebra 1 and Geometry and Algebra 2 and so forth, that I see that there is a pattern. And if you recall, that geometry is a branch of the tree of algebra. Algebra is the core of a lot of math. If you can do algebra solid, then geometry, especially when they start doing some expansion, it doesn't become so stressful. So I like to think of it this way. Like geometry helps you to make a picture, really connect the real world to it. So like I can know what a ladder is and how it leans up against a wall. I can see that. I know with a box of any kind, if I try to figure out the surface area of my box, I know what a box looks like. I know what it feels like. I understand the width, the length, and the height. But the algebra helps you get the answer. What is that known missing side? How many inches is this? How many degrees are we off? So a lot of those components stay in. So why I'm talking about this now? Because a lot of parents, a lot of their kids graduated from middle school, so they're about to go into high school, and a lot of people are concerned, like, is my child really ready for high school math? Because they notice that math isn't the same way if they were mathing when they were kids. And then they're just like, well, what happens if I can't help them? Where can I go? How can I help them? Basically, without being enabling and being a helicopter parent. So when it comes down to the concepts of really helping kids going on, it's also seen in the GED, the ASVAB, the Accuplacer, the TEAS test, and it's not just area, circumference, and perimeter. They also talk about volume, like how much something can fill this. It also talks about the surface area. How much wrapping paper will I need to wrap this if I wanted to wrap it as a gift? A lot of it is trying to connect that real world situation with the math that you're probably going to see. So if you are new here and you're wondering who is this chick and why she's talking to me, my name is Audrey Codner and I'm the owner of Math by Audrey as well as ACG Math Tutoring. I was a classroom teacher for 22 years. I was in the trenches. Okay, and 6 years, I just completed today, 6 years of online math tutoring. So I have tutored throughout the United States, mostly the West Coast and the East Coast, but also Nairobi, Kenya, and Cairo, Egypt. So by looking at it, no matter where you are, math is math. So 2 plus 2, 2 times 2, and 2 squared is the same answer of 4 all over the world. That's why math is so awesome. So when it comes down to it, now it's time for you to take a test, and you've had a huge gap with dealing with this thing called algebra. So that's what I decided to come here on TikTok to break down some of the concepts and to build up your greatness. Not only that, to give you the tools and the resources that you need in order to do that advancement, in order to go from just watching me as a video to applying and then applying it to your test. So, hey, how are you, John? So I want to kind of give you a little bit, because I'm not going to be here too long, okay? Because I know you're busy. It's that time of year. So the reason why all this sparked up was because of my lovely little diagram here, okay? I think of math as a tree. So like anything, everything always starts with a seed, and the seed is you. The seed is planted. You don't know what about your surroundings. You don't know how rich the soil is. You don't know if you're getting the support that you need until later on in life, when you're really starting to connect like, hey, high school is supposed to be life prep. So then when you start trying to do things, you notice that we have some roots. And most of the roots is your foundational. So it's your adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. It's your fractions, it's your percents, and it's your decimals. All of your basics, the different types of numbers, rational numbers, irrational numbers, and you won't get too much into the complex numbers until later on down the line. But if your foundation is weak, you still will have roots. But then here's the problem. Your trunk is not going to be as strong. So that means this feeds into the algebra that you're going to see. Okay? Anything dealing with equations on the line, trying to find the unknown side, really going into some of the other aspects of one-step, two-step, and multi-step equations. By you getting a strong trunk because of your foundation, now the branches of advanced math is not going to be as tedious. So there's a lot of parents that are saying, well, you know, my child's going into geometry and you don't really have anything on geometry. So my question is, how was he in algebra? How was she in algebra? Not because did they get a C. I know kids that are getting A's in classes and don't know a blessed thing. So it's not so much the grades. What are some of the things that you saw your kid doing? Were they doing homework at home? Did they look like they were overwhelmed? Were they having difficulties and they're coming to you and you had no idea? If that's it, that means we have to really get involved with the issue of concept. By getting into that issue of concept, now you can do the geometry. Then you can do the pre-calc. You can do the calculus, the trig, and the statistics, any of the branches. And then eventually, as you get used to it and you're used to applying it, then you can eat the fruit of your labor. But it all comes from your foundation. So what I'm going to do today is show you the reason why this is important. Because it's never one and done. So say, for example, a lot of us don't like fractions, right? But we see it all the time in geometry. We can see it as formulas. And what is this the formula of? A equals 1/2 BH. Sorry, it's going to get clearer in a second. Ish. Okay, what is this a formula from? A equals 1/2 BH. Okay, if you know it, put it in the chat. If you're not sure, put a question mark. Okay? Okay, most hated. Hey, most hated, how are you? It's saying triangle. Okay? Len is saying base times height divided by 2. What's it for, Len? What's it to? Okay, user 33 is saying area. Okay, Shells, hey Shells, is saying triangle, base times height. Okay, so what shape, what figure is this for? So a couple people are telling me area. Area of what? Okay, area of what? Okay, we got area of a triangle, most hated is telling us. All right, so this is it. If you're just telling me base times height, you're telling me the area, the inside of a rectangle. But if I cut this in half and just worry about what's happening here, this is a triangle, what I have shaded. So that's half of a rectangle. That's how that formula came about. All right? That's how that formula came about. Your rectangle is base times height. But half of base times height, that gives us a triangle. That's where this formula is from. Okay? Now, how about this other formula? And this is something that everybody is going to see at least once. Okay? So we have V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. Yes, no doubting, no. Most hated, you write down what you think it is. If we have to correct later, we correct later. But always tell me what you're thinking. Okay? All right, so most hated is thinking is a cube. Okay, if you're not sure where this formula comes from, okay, I know people are going to be scared and like, oh, this is way above my pay grade. Well, guess what? It's not. It's not. These are one of those 4-point questions that you will see on the ASVAB, okay, on the GED. These are those questions that you're skipping. And guess what? You can't skip these. Okay, this is a 3-point question. This is a 4-point question. All right, volume, Shells. Volume of a what, Shells? Okay, most hated is saying a cylinder. Okay, volume. Hence the V, volume. Okay, so we got, is that Blanca? Blank? You're going to have to help me here. Okay, saying sphere. Yes. Okay, big L, sphere. All right, so when we're talking about, I know, the circle is terrible. We're not talking about just the flat dimension. We're talking about all 3 of the dimensions, okay? So this is the formula for a sphere. Spheres, volume always deals with the 3rd dimension, and most of the things are going to be raised to the 3rd power. But one thing that is for sure, here's a fraction, here's a fraction, here's an exponent. Those are the bases. Here's multiplication. All of this is multiplication with division. Okay, that's what fractions are. That's your foundation. So if I gave you, all right, the base is 10 and the height is 7, you'll be able to figure out what the area is, the area of that triangle. Because if you plug in the 10 for the base and the 7 for the height, and you're taking 1/2, you can take 1/2 of 10, which gives me 5. Let me raise this up a little bit. So 1/2 of 10 gives me 5. And then you have 5 times 7, so that gives me 35. And since I didn't write down any units, it would be units squared. Because you're dealing with your 2 dimensions, your base times your height. Right? There you go. Right? So if I gave you the radius, you can plug in the radius, right? And then, I don't know, I can plug it in for, I don't know, let's say the radius was 3. So if I got this, I'm going to write here, so say my radius is 3, and I want to know what the volume is. That means I have 4/3 times pi. My radius is going to be 3, but it's going to be cubed. So in order for us to tackle this, we got to think of order of operation, right? So please excuse my daring silence. Don't be scared. No, no, no. Don't be scared. Because what we're doing is algebra. So basically, we're using geometry to give us our shape, but we're going to use algebra, right, to find our answer. There you go. Good. So 3 cubed, that's 3 times 3 times 3. So I have my 4/3 pi, and 3 cubed, that's 27. Because it's 3 times 3 times 3, not 3 times 3. Okay? Right. Oh, it's a little messy, but I appreciate you. Saying that my handwriting is nice. Oh, God love you. All right. So now, let's clean this up. So we have 4/3 of 27 pi. And let's just say, for the sake of time, we want to make the exact. We want to have the exact value. And I'm going to tell you what's the difference between that and the approximate. All right? So now, if I want to have the exact value, I am going to do my 4/3 times 27. This is algebra. When you multiply a fraction with a whole number, You could put this whole number over 1, and then if you wanted to, you could multiply the numerator, then multiply the denominator, then simplify. But here's my thing. I'm going to make things a lot bigger. I don't want that. I want to make it smaller. So I notice right here, the 27 and the 3. I can reduce this by 3. So 3 divided by 3 will give me 1. 27 divided by 3, that will give me 9. So now what do I have? I have 4 times 9 times pi. And if I want the exact value, that means I'm leaving it in terms of pi. And you always have your units of measurements, and you're always cubing. Okay, you're always cubing when you're dealing with volume. Anytime they say area, you're squaring. You're using the squared units. Anytime they say volume, you are cubing. Okay, are we clear with that? Now, if they wanted the approximate, that means we need to multiply the 36 with pi. Not just 3.14. Remember, pi has an infinite number. Okay? If you're not sure what it is, got it right here. I got some of it right here. This is not even all of it, right? Cool shirt. I know. The only thing my ex actually did right. Okay. So, with us doing that, this is going to be your exact answer. You leave your answer in terms of pi. But if you want the approximate, you're going to have to change it as a decimal. But the main reason why I had us do these two is because I wanted to show you that we use geometry, okay, to help get the pictures, but we used algebra to find our solutions. Okay, that's crucial. Now, one thing, especially for parents whose kids are going into geometry, this is the one thing that you have to do. You cannot believe your eyes. When it comes to geometry, you are going to constantly use theorems. You're going to constantly use what's called postulates. You're going to be using properties to define that a shape is truly a shape, to show and to prove that it is a triangle, that it is a right triangle, that it is a obtuse triangle, that the two triangles are similar. You're going to be doing a lot of what's called proofing, and that's what a lot of people get scared of, because the reason why you don't see too many books on geometry, because there are so many postulates and so many theorems. Way too many. Okay? You are basically first quarter, you're going through 52 vocab words in the first quarter. 52. That's not even including the postulates. That's not even including the theorems, all the properties. Some of the properties you know from algebra. So when you have a child that did not do all that great and struggled with algebra, they need to have a refresher. Okay? And if it's you and you haven't been around algebra for a while, we need to get a refresher. All right? This is why I have my book. Okay, Algebra at Your Pace is designed for GED, ASVAB, T's, and the Accuplacer, but I also use it because I have a couple kids that I tutor that were using it as algebra review to build up their skills. Okay, so a lot of this is not just a general workbook, it's also a notebook, and it gives you extra practice problems as well as step-by-step instruction. By scanning my QR code, you will get a video of me breaking down whatever the concept is, and at the end of every book, you get an end of chapter quiz. Okay? In addition to all that, you get additional support. So you have like resources of things and rules of integers, adding, subtracting, multiplying, already at your fingertips. Okay? Okay? If you're interested in this, just go ahead and DM me the word math, and we can take it from there after the live. But one of the other things I definitely want to address is, let me talk to you about two of the concepts that you will see, or your child will see, either in the test or the first quarter of geometry. One of the things they like to do is called segment addition. And you're doing exactly that. You're adding segments. Now, they will give you some things. They will give you some information. So say for this instance, they will say segment AB is 3x plus 5. Segment BC is x plus 7. And they're saying segment AC is 24. Now, for a person on the outside looking in, you're like, say what? But this is what's happening. We have a whole segment, and that whole entire segment is AC. B is somewhere around here. That's on that. Okay? So they're giving us little bits of information. Okay? Little bits of information. So they're saying from A to B, which is from here to here, is represented by 3x plus 5. And they're saying segment BC, that means from B to C, is x plus 7. Okay? Now, the whole thing from A to C is 24. Okay? So the whole thing is 24. So this is what's happening. The reason why they call it segment addition is that means you're taking this segment AB. If I add it to segment BC, it will equal the whole thing, which is AC. That's how they're doing it. Okay? So we use geometry to draw the picture because we are visual learners. We are visual learners. Okay, Vincent, I see you. So what we're doing is we're adding these two together and have it equal 24. So it looks like this. 3x plus 5 plus 7x plus, x plus 7, and it's going to equal 24. Okay, how are we doing? Okay, how are we doing? Thumbs up, thumbs down, meh. Broken hearts, still alive. Okay. Unsure, put a question mark. This is a safe space. Hell, there's 25 people in here. It's a safe space. Ask your questions. Okay, so Big Al, you're good, but you're crying. Okay. It's a love-hate relationship. All right, I got you. All right, John is saying X4. Okay. Ramona, hello, Ramona, welcome back. Is saying thumbs up. Okay. So now, let's break this down. So if I'm going to cover up this side, and we're focusing right here. So now we got 3x plus 5 plus x plus 7. So what we're going to do is called combining like terms. So I have my x's. So we have 3x and plus 1x. If you don't see a number, it's always assumed to be a 1. So when you have your 3x plus your 1x, that gives us our 4x. And since they're on the same side of the equal sign, we're not moving from one side to the next. They're on the same side. The equal sign is right here. So they're on the same side, so you combine. All right? So now we have 5 plus 7. So 5 plus 7, that gives me a positive 12. And the only thing I have to do is bring down my equals 24. So now we went from geometry to now we need to get with the algebra to find out what x equals. Okay, so I'm getting some 4s, I'm getting some 3s. So let's see what we got. So now we have 4x plus 12 equals 24. We want to keep the x right where it is because we want to isolate it. But right now it's attached to the 4, so we can't get rid of the 4. We need to get rid of, the 12. So we're going to do the inverse. So we're going to subtract 12 on both sides. So positive 12 minus 12, that gives me a 0. And I don't need to put the 0 down because we still have this 4x that just simply needs to come down. So now it equals 24 minus 12, that gives me 12. Okay, so now here we have our 4x equals 12, so we have to do the inverse. 4x means 4 times x. Do the inverse, that means we're dividing by 4. 4 divided by 4 gives me 1, so I can say 1x or just simply x, because the 1 is assumed to be there. And then 12 divided by 4 gives us 3. Okay. All right. So make sure that you remember how to do this? Yes, there we go. Now, what we found was x. We might have to take it to the next level. Some people will just say, find x. Boom, you did it. Yay, you're done. Click it, bubble it, move on. But as I like to say, anytime you're doing any kind of test, standardized, or just in the classroom, you always go back to the question. Because the question might ask you, what's the length of BC? It might ask you, what's the length of AB? Right? There you go. Yes, I do, Jose. And I also have these books to help. And I can, if anything, DM me the word math. Message me the word math. Okay? So I can get back to you after the live. So if we wanted to figure out what AB was, the length of AB, that means we're taking this answer of 3 and we're plugging it in for the x. So our original was 3x, but instead of an x, we're putting in our 3. Okay? All right. So 3 times 3, multiplication always comes before addition or subtraction. So that gives you your 9. And then your 9 plus 5, that gives us our 14. Okay. So, Vincent told us that was only 14 units. That would be awesome. So, if they want us to find what BC is, same thing. What represented BC was x plus 7. So instead of an x, we're plugging in that same 3. Okay? So 3 plus 7, that's simple enough for us. That's going to be 10. And that'll be 10 units. Okay. So always take a look. You might be done with just the x. But if they ask you what's the measure of BC, then you have to do the substitution. Okay. Oh, well, thank you, Melody. Beauty. Appreciate you. All right. So this is why we actually do finding the math, but there is algebra in it. So even if you're trying to take your GED, your ASVAB, your Accuplacer, and they do have, especially their arithmetic reasoning, they always give you, that's basically your word problems for those that are taking the ASVAB. But everyone freaks out about the word problems, but it's not the word problems. It's your understanding of the concept. Like, I don't know, and a lot of you guys will say, I don't know where to start. So sometimes we have to draw a picture. Because I know if I just went just from this and I wasn't very familiar with segment addition, ooh, yeah, I would be like, hey, I need that. Okay, I need that. All right, so this is awesome. We're going to keep going. All right, again, if you want to learn more about my courses and my systems, let me show you real quick, all right, so either you can just DM me the word math, because I want to know what test are you trying to take, when are you planning on taking it, what have you been doing to prepare for it, okay, before you even saw me, so we can come up with a plan, because that's the one thing, everybody's like, I want to pass the test, and I'll ask you, what's your plan? You're like, I have no idea. I just want to pass the test. I'm like, so what are you doing? I'm just watching videos. Guys, watching videos does not equate studying. I'm sorry. You're just watching it for entertainment. Okay? But if you do want to go, you can. Let me zoom in a little bit. So if you notice, just go to my profile. Right here, you got the Stan Store. So if you click on that, it will take you directly to my Stan Store. So if you want to go, like, say, hey, Audrey, do you have any books on, for practice books? Now, if you're struggling with the instruction, my suggestion is get the instruction, then do the practice books. Okay? So it kind of guides you through it. Sorry, let me turn this down a bit. Okay, so I give you like a little mini tour of where to start. If you want, I do have a free skills check. If you want to see where you're at, it may not be at square one. It might be at square 4, maybe even square 5. You have no idea. So here, if anything, you just click on that, and it'll take you, and it'll give you a small description of what it is pertaining. All right? And after you do that, you just have to put your name and your email. I'm not going to email you to death, and then you can download it for free. All right. If you read it and you're like, yeah, this is not for me, guess what? You can back out. Sometime today. There you go. You can back right out. So it's not like as soon as you click a button, it takes you right to the payment link. Okay. I just want to make sure you see that. Then I also have a few summer sessions, some systems that I have. And if you want individual books, you can purchase the individual books. Now, for people that are like, you know what, I just need practice books. All right, I do have a practice book for the exams, which is like a mock exam. You're going to sit down and do all that. The other thing that we have, if you want for ASVAB, I do have a practice book for ASVAB. It has like 135 questions. Most of them are arithmetic reasoning. So most of them are like word problems. Even though there may have multiple choice to it, but at least it'll get you into the practice. Now, I added something to my list. I also have those 2 practice books, and I added a video walkthrough. So that means all the questions that are in that book, I actually sat down and I did a video recording of me breaking down each of the books. So you can have just the books, that's the ones that are up here, or if you want to add the video walkthroughs of those books, you can do that as well. Okay? And then if you want your physical books, you can go here, so it'll take you straight to the A. And then you have all these other resource books that we have here. A lot of flashcards that will help you, flashcards for the formula review cards. And if you want to do tutoring, this is where you go. I think it was Jose. Okay, if you go there, you can schedule a 15-minute call. Okay, just so I can see. And it's free. It's a free 15-minute call. If you want to sit down and chit-chat and talk about what you're doing, what your plans are, we can take it from there as well. Okay, do I got a statistics one? No, I do not. Okay, no, I do not. Not yet. Alright, so sorry, I'm going really, really fast. I think your eyes are probably like, what? Okay. Alright, so again, let me see if I can back out of that. Back out. Back out. Alright, so again, if you go to my profile, that's where that link is. Okay? So if that's what you need. Yep. So basically, Jose, the whole test. I got you. Hey, Danny Boo! I got you. Okay? I love when people think that what's happening in GED and ASVAB are two separate worlds. No, it's not. 2 plus 2, 2 times 2, 2 squared, it still gives you 4. Okay? All they're doing is going from Becky went to the store to do this to first sergeant told you to do blah, blah, blah. That's about it. Okay? Especially for the math portion. Now, back to the math. This for me. Okay. So now, we just did segment addition. Aw, thank you. Thank you, Jose. I appreciate that. Love that galaxy. Alright, so we have our segment addition. We just did that. Now, let's get to another one. Another one, I feel like DJ Khaled for a second. Another one. Alright, we're going to talk about angle addition. Let me see if that's a little too high. Alright, so I'm going to do something like this. We have what? Here we have 2x plus 10 degrees. And here we have x plus 20 degrees. Okay. You still let me know? Okay. Thank you. I know, every time I hear another one, like it just sticks. Alright, so this is called angle addition. With angle additions, we have basically three angles going on here. So the way that you write it, you may have seen it like this. A little M with like a lopsided L that looks like it went to Mardi Gras for a little bit. And then sometimes they give you 3 letters. So A, B, D. Then they'll have the measure of angle C, B, D. And then you have the measure of angle A, B, C. Alright. So what do I mean by that? If I cover this up, I start from 1 to the middle to the end. So this is my vertex. This could be an endpoint, but then we have to get into rays and everything, but I don't want to confuse right now. But you can name an angle with 3 letters. You can name an angle with a number. If I said that this is angle 1, okay, and then I could say that this right here is angle 2. All right. I can name this whole angle ABC. I can name it by angle B because that's its vertex. The vertex is usually what's in the middle. Notice the middle letter is B. All right. So when we go into this, we have our ABD. If I cover this side, we have angle D or CBD. You can say DBC as well. Then you have the whole thing, which is ABC. All right. Now, if we're going to do angle addition, that means this angle 1, ABD, plus angle BCD, if I add those two up, I should get my angle ABC. All right. Okay. Most people that have to, so Hennessy, most people that have to pass a GED, ASVAB, Accuplacer, TEAS test, HESI test, and also current students, okay, getting ready for the GED or getting ready for high school stuff. So how we're going to do this, we know that angle ABD, which is this angle here, it equals 2x plus 10. So I'm going to put it right underneath. I got my 2x plus 10. Then I have angle CBD. I got this x plus 20. But here's a question for you guys. It's supposed to equal this angle ABC. How much? What would this equal? What would this equal? And if you're not sure, put a question mark. If you think you have an idea, put it in the chat. Okay, Big L is saying 90. Okay, John is saying 10. Danny's saying 90. Danny Boo. Debbie is saying 90. Okay, give me one more person. Give me one more person. It's like 42 of us. Hey, China. See you sneaking in here. Alright, so angle ABC. How many degrees is angle ABC? 90, the little square. There you go. Angela, 90. Thank you. Hey, Angela, how are you? Right. So they gave us this little box, this little square right here. Anytime we see that box, that means we're dealing with a 90-degree angle. So that means the sum of these two angles will equal 90 degrees. All right, good. So now, let's get to solving. So we use geometry to draw the picture. Now we're going to use algebra to solve for our answer. Okay? So by the looks of it, it looks like we're solving for x. So if we combine our like terms, we have 2x plus, there's physically 1x there. So that means if you don't see a number, that's why it's always assumed that there is a 1 in front. Not the value of x, but the coefficient, the number in front of the x. So that gives us 3x. And we can combine them because they're on the same side of the equal sign. There you go. So now we got 10 plus 20. Okay, just like Angela said, we have 3x plus 30 equals 90. Okay, hey Janice, how are you? I would love to see pictures of your graduation, Janice. All right, so now we're trying to solve for x. So we're going right back to algebra, guys. See how it doesn't leave. I know. So we have to do the opposite of plus 30, which is subtract 30. So we're doing what's called the inverse. Okay. Yes, Nicole. Ooh, everybody coming out of the woodwork tonight. All right, so we have our 3x is equal to what? Okay. Oh, careful. Careful, John. There you go. Fast horse, I see you. Good. Hey, Mel. See, everybody coming out of the woodwork tonight. Okay, Nicole, I see you with 60. There you go, John. Okay, so we're doing the 90 minus 30. So that gives us our 60. And then, there you go. Mom, love tech. Oh, I love that. Okay, I see you, Debbie. I see you as well. So now we have 3x. 3x is multiplication, so opposite of multiplication, or the inverse, is division. So 3 divided by 3 gives me 1x, or just simply x. And then your 60 divided by 3, 6 and 3, that gives me 2, adding my 0. So my x is equal to 20. Good. All right. Good. I see you, Mel. Good. I hope you're feeling well. All right. So that's what x equals. What happens, okay, knowing this little bits of information, let me scroll this up a little bit. What happens if I want to find the measure of ABD? So I'm looking at ABD. So the B is always my vertex, that turning point. I was going down until I hit the vertex, then I went to another direction. So if I want to know the value of ABD, and right now the measure of angle ABD, so if you notice what that little M is for, it's saying the measure. And we know it's represented by 2x plus 10. But instead of an x, we're putting our answer that we got for x, which is the 20, and we're substituting it in. Yes, we're going to plug in. There you go. So 2 times 20, that gives me 40. And 40 times 10, not to insult your intelligence, I know you got this, will give me 50. And since we're looking at degrees, you have to put the degree symbol. Okay, not just because some teachers, if you're doing it in class, if you don't put the degree symbol and you're looking for the angle measurement, they will take points off. I'm just letting you know right here now, a little forewarn. Okay, we're all about the units for geometry. All right. So if I wanted to find CBD, that's CBD, we want to find this angle here. It's being represented by x plus 20. So I'm going to write my measure of angle CBD, and it's represented with x plus 20. Well, if our x value again is 20, alright, so we took this 20 and plugged it in for x. So now we got our 20 plus 20. That means that measure of angle CBD is 40 degrees. Okay, so it all depends. Now when you're taking the test, any test, whatever it is, always look at the question. Okay, look at the question that they're offering. If they just wanted to know what X is, you do the X, you bubble it, you move on. Don't give them all this extra stuff. You're not going to get extra credit. Alright, so don't even try. You're wasting time. Remember, when you're taking a lot of these standardized tests, you have time that is going to go against you. So you want to be quick-ish, but you want to be accurate. You want to go at a pace. So if you're taking the GED and you get a question something like this, and they just ask for the X, you basically have 1 minute and 10 seconds to answer this question. As soon as you get the instruction, like I did, I gave you instruction, all you have to do now is figure out a way to practice. Okay? Once you get the instruction, then you can go to practice. A lot of you guys are keep buying PDFs, and you keep buying courses, and you keep buying all these videos, and you keep buying and buying and buying and buying. But you're buying the practice, but there is no instruction. You've been away from it for so long. Okay? Give yourself a break, a breather. Okay? Be real with yourself. I haven't seen this in years, or if I have seen it at all, it's been forever. It's a huge gap. It's almost like the valley. You know? So it's almost like Grand Canyon right now. That's how deep it's been. But now, once you get some instruction, now you can apply the practice. This is why a lot of you guys get stuck, because you're trying to skip steps. You're trying to say, hey, I can get there quicker, let me just take the practice test. And you don't do well on the practice test, or you get close in the practice test. Then you take the other practice test. And then all of a sudden you're frustrated because you're like, why do I have to take the practice test again? I thought I was good. But you're not good. And the reason why is because you're trying to put the practice in front of the instruction. Can't do that. Okay? Very helpful to practice, yes. But Jack, do you have that content? Because a lot of people have content issues. Okay? That's the only reason why I'm saying this. Because there's tons of good practice stuff out there. But if you don't understand where to start and what to do with the materials so you can get the answer, I feel like you're wasting money. I don't want you to do that. Okay? Put myself through. Okay. Alright. So, those are two concepts that I really want you to see. We had the segment addition, and we had the angle addition, which a lot of newbie to geometry is going to see probably like within the first month. Because usually the first week they're talking about how to name, like how to do measure of angles and how to break down concepts. But what I really wanted to show you is that it's not algebra and geometry. Okay, algebra is still a part of geometry. As I say in my branch, algebra is the core. If you can understand the algebra, you can do and manipulate numbers like we do for statistics. You can do a lot of stuff with the trig, because we just talked about a concept that they use in trig, especially if I made this into a triangle, into a right triangle. That's where a whole lot of the trig is coming from. Okay, and even advanced algebra. But my thing is, these are the branches. Okay, I need to go over it again. Okay, I got you. I need to learn. Yes, and I understand we're trying to basically, I want to pass the test, and I want you to pass the test, but then you're wondering, what is the disconnect? The disconnect is you're trying to memorize the answer key. And that's not going to help you. And every time you're like, oh, shoot, I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that on the answer key. How did I get that? And you can't remember. And what keeps going while you're going, is the time. Alright? I never took it. What? Yep, they do go together. Oh, you make me hungry, Jack. Okay. So, this is why I do these things. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you like a regular person. Hi, how you doing? This is the face. So you're a learner that I will think and try to make sense, but it's not there. Exactly. Miss Miriam, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to pin you because this is exactly what a lot of people do. You spend so much time trying to make sense because this is what happens. And I'll be truthful, I used to do it too when I was a student. And I would like try to get as much free stuff as possible, right? But then this is the problem. You got one person will use this terminology, this person will use this concept terminology, this person does it one way, another person does it another way. This video seems like a really good idea, but then you're trying to connect this video with all your other free stuff and it's just like, you know, you're just doing voguing. Like this is it. It's never meeting up. It's all kinds of crazy, right? So that's why it's such a disconnect. It's a major disconnect. So it's so much easier to learn it or refresh yourself. Basically get in touch with the math that's going on. So that's why I have like my 10-book series of Algebra at Your Pace. Okay, so this one deals with the inequalities, decimals, and exponents. It starts from the very beginning. The very first thing that I start up with is the types of numbers. Okay, look at the real numbers, the irrational, the rational numbers. So we're looking at all that. You're taking down notes. Okay, so after you're taking down notes, I give you some sample problems, and the answer keys are on the back. But there's always something. And then after you do that, there's a quiz like I mentioned. And also I give you some resources. Okay, some of the resources are like this. You have your decimal, you have your fractions, all those rules that you totally forgot all about, all of them are there. Okay, even especially this one to help you with word problems. There are certain words that have certain meanings. What operation is connecting with addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, the difference between an inequality as well as equals. That is huge. Okay? And then I help you along with some flashcards. So right in the very back, I give you some flashcards of exponents. So if you want, you can make copies of it. You can take it directly out of the book. And what happens is, one side is the question. Woo, sorry. Blinding everybody. Okay, so one side is the question. There we go. And the other side is the answer. So some people say, oh, that's like so old, you know, you should just do it online. But see, here's the thing. You don't appreciate free and online. Every time you get something free, you push it aside. But when you invest in something, you're like, oh, I'm going to get my money's worth. And then, here we go with the cards. If it ain't broke, you don't need to fix it. So yes, you can take this stack of cards. Here I go. Boom. I got a little binder clip right here. Throw it in your purse. Throw it wherever you want to go to. Not only do I have that, I also have some other cards. I don't know why it's blinding everybody. Okay, because it's late. Alright, so I also have like other cards to help you with solving equations, really breaking down concepts. Because a lot of times, sometimes that's what you want as a practice. Alright? Okay, no problem. Hey, Mel. Alright, so and again, if you're interested and you're like, you know what, I kind of like to learn a little bit more about these books, go ahead and just shoot me a message. Alright, so if you see my picture of my profile, click on it a couple times, and where it says message, just send me a message. It might be somewhere around here with the Systems Plus. You can send me a message through there as well. All you have to do is just message the word math. That's how I know that you're involved. Okay, so I was like, DM me the word math. Okay, that's all you have to do. Now, if you're just like, ooh, Audrey, I want to buy these before I forget. Well, then let me show you how to get there. So if we come to, not my TikTok shop, and all this other fun stuff. Okay, so when you come to my profile, eventually, I'm gonna clear it up a little bit. All right, so when you come to the profile, you will see my stand store. Okay, so once you see that stand store, if you want to click on that, it will take you directly to my stand store, and you can browse through it. Now, for people that are just coming in, if you want to do a free skills check to see what your skills are, you can actually go here. Okay, it'll tell you a little bit about what you're actually looking at. What is that free one? You just put your name, your email, and then you can download it and then have fun. Alright, if you're just like, you know, I don't want to pay for anything right now, try this. This is a perfect start for you. Now, if you're just like, yeah, I don't want to do that right now, go ahead, back out of it sometime today. So if you back out of it, and if you want to, you can get a tour. I did a little video, like a 3-minute video of the tour, what to see, where to go. If you're just like, I really want to do some work with math and I don't know where to start, this is where you can go. You can go to the Summer Starter. So it's like the first 2 books of my Algebra at Your Pace. Also, you get a practice book, and you also get a video walkthrough of the first book to see if that's what you need. Okay? Again, I'd rather you message me before you buy anything, because I really want to make sure that you're getting whatever your resource is. Because if you want individual books, you can get individual books. If you want to do practice books, I got a practice book, so that's a practice test. So it has 6 full-length tests of 35 questions in there where you can sit down, time yourself, and then get used to doing the test. You have to practice the way you're going to be assessed. Okay? Same thing for ASVAB. If you need help, especially with the arithmetic reasoning section, it's mostly word problems, but it is also multiple choice. But if you want a video walkthrough with those books, this is where you go. This is one for the practice books, and this is one for the ASVAB. You will see me walk through it step by step, so you know, oh, that's where that's coming from. Because I really want you to learn that you can do this whole process yourself, but yet you also have me as your support. Okay? If you want the physical books, you can do that. If you want all my flashcards, that's towards the end. And then at the very end, if you're interested, you're like, you know what, I'd rather do tutoring. Hey, let's go on an interest call. Sign up for one 15-minute call, and we can take it from there. Okay? I want to be your support. I want this to be the last thing that you have to purchase. And then the best thing is, it's not one and done. You still have it. You can always go back. Oh, what did Audrey say about factoring? You can go to the factoring book, and most of them are digital, but if you want the physical books, you can do that. But you can get all the pricing, all the information that you want. Just click on whatever button you want. It's not going to force you. Okay, so if you want to schedule a call, you just click on schedule a call. It gives you all the information that you need. You know, does that sound like you? It tells you what my price is for regular, and then you just choose a date. If you're like, okay, I'm not ready for that just yet, all right, cool, back out of it. Boom. Okay, all right. So I'm not here to steal your money. I'm here to support and to get you out of the hole so you can show the world your greatness. Okay? But here's my thing. Don't just sit on it. Alright? Don't just sit on this. Because I don't know how many people are willing. Now, if you guys, I'm not sure what else is everyone here. If you're doing the TEAS exam and you need help with dosage calculations, I got a great resource for you. So make sure you see a blessed RN. She is amazing on dosage calculations. That's all her world is. She is a current licensed RN. So if you got any questions that you need, that's where you need to get to. Okay? If you know you struggle with just basic multiplication, Math by Stephanie. I think it's like Math Stephanie. I always spell Stephanie incorrectly. I think her name is Math Stephanie. If not, message me and I'll let you know. If you need help with multiplications, guys, multiplication is it. That's what you need. If you can understand multiplication, multiplication is nothing but fast math or fast addition. You need to understand your multiplication tables, especially if you can get it up to like, if you could really get it up to like 13, that'd be great. 12 is like the standard now. Okay? We can't just say, oh, I know the first 5. It's not good enough. You gotta know the 7s, the 6s, the 7s, the 8s, and the 9s. I know a lot of people struggle with those, but if you need some support, she usually goes live with flashcards to kind of help you with the speed and the accuracy. Okay? Alright, so again, if you have any questions, please DM me. Click on the picture. Send me a message. If you're interested into the books and want to learn more about my systems, type in math. But if you have a question, ask your question. Please ask your question. That's the only way you're going to move from I'm stuck, I guess I'm just going to stay here, to let's get this test and move on with your life. All right? All right, everyone. Have a lovely evening. And what's today? Yep, I will see you guys tomorrow night at 7. I might come on a little bit earlier, but I think I'm going to push for 7. All right, take care, guys. Have a great night.